Thank you very much. Shalom, greetings to you all. I hope you all had a wonderful ghoul and goblin time on Halloween. I was doing a wedding that night, and no, it was not a theme wedding, so I was simply dressed as a rabbi, and not as Darth Vader as a rabbi, although I have to say the force was very strong that night. And thank you, Susan, for your kind words and for enjoying our weekly presentations. And no matter what else, or what his choices, the great Cat Stevens or Yusuf Islam. Tea for the Tillerman was a classic album, and Father and Son is one of the greatest father-son songs of all time, and I cannot think of a better song to set against the patriarch parental themes. And within our own beautiful community, Philip, my friend, get better. You have such a huge heart, and the world depends on you. We wish you the speediest recovery. And our heartfelt thoughts and prayers go out to Monty and to Anna. We all hope and pray your son Benjamin is doing better. And we will continue to send prayers out for his healing and well-being, as will all of us in the nation of caring individuals. And I hope Noah has an awesome trip to Israel. I know the summit is a dangerous place, but for all, it is magical. Whatever religious affiliation you may have or had, it is a land of spirit like few others, and just as words to biblical man had palpability, so does the spirit of the Holy Land. You can feel it, my friends. For those who have never been, please put it on your bucket list. And a very special birthday greeting goes out, of course, to Ellen. I hope it was fantastic. I wanted so badly to talk to you, and I am so sorry that I did not make it happen. But the celebration of your 60th will always be one of the highlights of my life. I think of it often. It was special. You are special. I know today's your birthday. I know today's for you. It comes around but once a year, so do what you want to do. And you followed your dream down to Machu Picchu. I always love that song, and it makes me think of you. And I've received many nice comments on the angel puppet facsimiles we used. This week also calls for puppets, and I have to tell you, it is hard to find good puppets out there. But I've come up with a pretty good alternative. Now, don't forget, my friends, the names for the parshas came 1,000 years or more after the Torah was written. Same with the divisions of them. And the Hebrew names differ from the English in approach. The Hebrew is from the first words, and the English is from the Greek, which is from the theme. Now, in this week's case, it doesn't quite work. See, the first words are, Sarah lived to be 127 years old, and she died. That, my friends, is the extent of what we know and what we are told of the great matriarch of Judaism. Friends, this week we have Chaye Sarah, Sarah's life. Except we are told nothing about it. Well, not just Sarah dies, but in this parsha, Abraham dies, and we have a changing of the guard. We meet adult Isaac, not sacrificial Isaac. Rebekah, her uncle Laban, who will take on a very important role later on, and the mysterious servant of Abraham, who orchestrates the change. And I say mysterious because we do not get his name, but he has been named Eliezer because that name appears independently in reference to Abraham. And we like to put names to certain people. Perhaps we do not get his name because he had a very specific role only, and we'll look at that shortly. Friends, this parsha is about one thing. It is about love. And as the Young Rascals sang in 1966, good lovin'. Give me that good lovin'. Now, there's a very famous term, which I'm sure you've all heard, beshert. It's a Yiddish word meaning destiny, and we often say that something is beshert. It was meant to be, it was destiny. And we have a belief today that a person should marry whoever they fall in love with, and when they do, it was probably beshert. Well, that is about as far from the biblical view of marriage as you can get. To biblical man, love was a terrible criterion upon which to base a marriage. Isaac could have fallen in love with any number of Canaanite women, but Abraham had forbidden it. I know you haven't made your mind up yet, but I would never do you wrong. I've known it from the moment that we met. No doubt in my mind where you belong. Now, the patriarchs believed that God appointed a person's spouse, and so your spouse is your soulmate. And this story is the first story to deal with this. Friends, in this parsha, we read about the Bible's first matchmaking. Abraham wants Isaac to marry, so he sends his servant to find a wife for him. For Papa, make him a scholar. For Mama, make him rich as a king. For me, well, I wouldn't holler if he were as handsome as anything. Matchmaker, matchmaker. And this year is the 50th anniversary of Fiddler. Isn't that fantastic? Which is reopening on Broadway. And I still listen to the original cast, with the only Tevye there should have been, the late, great Zero Mostel. Now, in case you did not think there would be any confusion, we now have a Parsha written on a twisted timeline. Its events do not take place as you read them. It is confusing and would be impossible. You read, Sarah dies, and Abraham buys a tomb to bury her, a very famous tomb, which we will see every so often. And Abraham is referred to as an alien here. In the land his heirs will come to own. And perhaps that too is why his descendants are enjoined to respect and treat aliens well. More than any other law in the Torah, not just because of Egypt, but perhaps it goes all the way back to Abraham. Now Abraham sends his servant off to find a wife for Isaac, and the servant finds Rebekah. Abraham remarries and has several more children. Abraham dies. And when he dies, he leaves everything to Isaac. Well, how do you think all the other children are going to feel? And when he dies, Isaac and Ishmael come together to bury him. Now that says a lot about Ishmael. And he too is a character we learn very little about. Now what the order of the Parsha probably should be is Sarah dies and Abraham remarries. Although those can be reversed. He can remarry before she dies. After all, we're talking about a polygamous society. And the members of the patriarch generations almost all had multiple wives. It really does not matter. Other than as readers in today's society, we probably feel closer to the patriarchs if they're more monogamous like we. And Sarah dies before he remarries. Abraham lies dying and has his servant make a deathbed vow in order for him to go and get Isaac a wife. Genesis 24:2. Put your hand, pray, under my thigh, that I may make you swear by the Lord, God of the heavens and God of the earth, that you shall not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanite in whose midst I dwell. But to my land and to my birthplace you shall go, and you shall take a wife for my son, for Isaac. This, my friends, is a traditional deathbed vow, and would only be made with Abraham dying. And Abraham says, go to the land of my birth, and the servant goes to Haran, not Ur. There is that irreconcilable geographic confusion again. Oops. And the only condition Abraham puts on the servant is, my son you must not bring back there. Why? Why is that the only condition? That Isaac not be taken to the land of Abraham's birth? Well, because with Abraham dead, Isaac may not return. He may just stay there. In which case, who will get Abraham's loot? After all, that is what he was most concerned with earlier. And Abraham said another fascinating thing. He'll send his angel ahead of you, and you shall take a wife for my son from there. And for the first time in the Bible, the servant announces what the miracle will be. He dictates it, not God. Was his servant an angel? Is that why we never knew his name? Do you ever know who your angels are? They don't all show their wings. Remember this puppet? Two of the angels with Abraham appear as men. The other one has wings, so we can tell. We encounter angels all the time in our lives. You've encountered them in your own trials and tribulations. Sometimes you knew, but you were not always sure who. And you, my friends, are angels to others. And sometimes you can choose. Think of the harm that you can do to others. Then think of the good. By which do you wish to be remembered? Never did feel this way before. Never did get up and walk the floor. If this is love, then give me more and more and more and more. Well, Isaac's not going to see his bride for a while still. We did see the first of many historic betrothal scenes. Now, they're all centered around heroic activity, which tend to involve providing water, the lifeblood of man and the symbol for emotion. And conventionally, there's a fixed sequence of motifs of this type. There's a travel to a foreign land, encounter there with future bride at a well, the drawing of water, hurrying or running to bring the news of the stranger's arrival, a feast at which a betrothal agreement is concluded. Except this is the only one reversed, with the female enacting the role and with a surrogate, since Rebekah does not actually meet Isaac till she goes off to marry him. And friends, surely there is some intimation in all this of the subsequent course of the marriage of Isaac and Rebekah. He, in most respects, the most passive of all the patriarchs, she, forceful and enterprising. And the great romance ends very quickly. They meet each other, and the servant recounted to Isaac all the things he had done. And Isaac brought her into the tent of Sarah his mother, and took Rebekah as wife, and he loved her, and Isaac was consoled after his mother's death. Friends, this is biblical confirmation that Sarah and Abraham are dead. We have a new patriarch and a new matriarch. And interestingly enough, it is still from what would be forbidden relationships. As the servant said, God has led me to the house of my Lord's brother. Abraham married his sister. Isaac will marry his cousin. Wait till you see what happens to his children, the most famous twins in history. It's only love, and that is all. Why should I feel the way I do? It's only love, and that is all. But it's so hard, loving you. Friends, love can be hard, but love is the glue that holds the universe together. It is the only law you need to know, and will bring you the greatest joy. Yes, the world is sacred, my friends, and so is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish, celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom. Be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light in all who live in the light and continue to shine. Continue to send everyone you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone, and end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we are a community. We learn together, we celebrate each other, we love each other. We share this ride together, men and women equally. Let us send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, good healing to all who need it. And please do fall in love, friends. It is the great gamble worth taking. Look forward, not backward. Ask questions. Don't take because as an answer. Break free of dogma. Change your way of thinking. Follow the call of freedom. The journey is yours to enjoy. Me and you and me, no matter how they toss the dice, it had to be. The only one for me is you, and you for me. So happy together. I can't see me loving nobody but you for all my life. When you're with me, baby, the skies will be blue for all my life. Happy together. Thank you all. Love you. See you all next time. And I do love seeing you all again. And remember, your wishes do come true. I'm sorry I did not show you the puppets, but we will meet them again next week. Bless you all. Have a fantastic week, a week of love and healing. And thank you for joining me. Shabbat Shalom.